From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, crack in PDP as Governor Wike accuses Atiku of lying. Last-minute rush for voter registration as exercise closes on Sunday. 3 more Chibok girls rescued. And on the foreign scene, New York raises monkeypox alarm as San Francisco declares emergency. Hello and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I'm Diron Onifade. Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State has reacted to the events that have unfolded in the aftermath of the presidential primary election of the People's Democratic Party (PDP). The governor, who spoke on Friday at the Port Harcourt International Airport, faulted the speech by the presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar on the day he unveiled Governor Ifeanyi Okowa as his running mate, while accusing the former vice president of telling lies as well as using some party chieftains to spread falsehood against his person. The governor vowed to respond to both the party's flag bearer and the party chieftains, whom he described as Atiku's attack dogs, one by one in due time.
Line by line, statements made by Atiku Abubakar himself and his attack dogs. I will do that. I've heard a lot of stories. For example, some senators called me that Atiku Abubakar said he sent Bukola Saraki to be. That is not fair. That's not correct. I was in Spain. Bukola came to me. I said, my brother, how do you settle this problem? I said, were you sending Atiku Abubakar? I said, no. So Abubakar Atiku has never, forget about sending rent seekers around him as scavengers. In fact, some of them will call my friends, oh boy, tell your guy now, make him support us. It has reduced to that level. I have become guy. Atiku Abubakar came to my house to say I should support him. So he doesn't know my house again. He doesn't know my house. I should let Nigerians to know at the appropriate time, after the commissioning of the projects we have lined up, to say, look, this is correct, this is not correct.
The immediate past Minister of State for Education, Chukwuemeka Nwojuba, and a group, Incorporated Trustees of Rights for All International, have filed an originating summons before a federal high court in Abuja seeking an order declaring Nwojuba as the authentic presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress (APC). They presented 26 issues for determination by the court and also prayed the court to cancel the votes obtained by the APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu, as well as the flag bearer of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Atiku Abubakar, for bribing delegates with dollars. Nwojuba specifically asked the court to determine whether the composition of the delegates contravened Articles 11A, 12(1), and 13(1) of the Constitution of the APC. The former minister urged the court to determine if the composition of the delegates at the PDP primary does not also contravene Section 33(1) and 5C of the Constitution of the party. He prayed the court to decide that, having regard to the express provision of the paragraphs 1 and 8 of the 5th schedule of the 1999 Constitution, the alleged corrupt conduct of Tinubu and Atiku in buying votes and in inducing delegates with dollars and naira to secure their votes at the Special National Convention disqualified them from further seeking, contesting, and holding the office of the president. As the continuous voter registration closes this Sunday, July 31, registrants in the FCT are still trooping to registration centers to be enrolled. At some registration centers, prospective registrants decried the inadequate machines and the personnel for the exercise. Musa Luka reports.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has extended registration to July 31st. As the extended date draws nearer, registrants still in mass visit registration centers to be captured. Speaking to some registrants at the registration centers, some expressed pride that they have been visiting for days but still could not register due to lack of proper coordination and inadequate machines.
No machines. If there were at least 10 to 15 machines here, you would see the work will go faster. It's not possible to achieve a good result with just 2 machines. It's not possible. So I don't know if this news could get to authorities in charge to increase the number of personnel, maybe machines or even laptops or something to make the work easier for them.
To make it easy for people like us that have gotten it, but one or two things happen to our PVC. We are supposed to just go to INEC office and show them. Then they will log in. If Nigeria has a good data system base, we are not supposed to be here. But now that they join all of us together, both the new people and those that wanted to transfer and those that want to apply for new ones, look at this is the result. There is no line, there is nothing.
The whole situation is nothing to
somewhere they will say because police people are not. I'm trying to tell the police people that the whole people should go out remaining 10 so that the boy will not come to attend to them. He said no, that I am shouting. They did that. The whole crowd not going to. How can one person 3 days? Only one person. Now one person.
My advice to the INEC is that they should provide more machine so that to enable everybody just get registered and go their way.
Registrants plead with INEC to extend the registration exercise again as the desire by citizens to participate in the election next year is rising. Musa Luka, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Similarly, large number of eligible voters besieged the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC headquarters and other registration centers in Kaduna Metropolis for the exercise. Some of them at different centers told Trust TV that the registration exercise is very slow as they arrived at the centers at 5 a.m. INEC, however, attributes the large turnout to people's attitude of coming out to register at the 11th hour. The report.
For over a year now, since the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC resumed the continuous voter registration exercise across the country. Since then, some Nigerians presented themselves at INEC offices in the 36 states and FCT for the registration. INEC has earlier fixed June 30th to suspend the exercise, but later extended it to July 31st after calls from many quarters. With just 2 days to conclude the exercise, eligible voters besieged INEC offices in Kaduna State for the registration, expressing dismay on the difficulties they face.
Since in the morning, I'm not sure we are up to 40 that they've done for.
I don't think most of us will not do this thing. We abandon our work, we abandon everything, and we are here suffering.
We'll be here very early in the morning, and up to this moment, it has not gotten to our turn.
I came here since 4 something this morning, and they say we should write our name. So we write the name, first list, second list.
I visited about 3 places. I was in Tudunwada, I was in Kurumaji, I came here, and now they're telling me that I should move to Kinshasa, that's the head office of the INEC.
At the INEC headquarters, another army of will-be voters waited to be registered.
So they gave us number today, but they didn't call it, they said maybe when they're done with that other people. And based on the line is too much there.
Despite the difficulties people face before they register, people with special needs are exempted considering their challenges.
No, I am appreciating how the INEC people are accepting us as people with disability. They show more consideration on us.
It was easy. We, the special students and candidates, they don't allow us to go into the line. We do our own separate.
INEC Administrative Secretary Kaduna Office Awal Mashi attributes the large turnout to the last-minute rush when the exercise will be suspended.
Nigerians are always used to doing things at the last minute. What is normally called, well, I don't know whether it's normal or not, but what is generally called the fire brigade approach. We have been doing this exercise for close to 400 days today, almost 400 days, 13 months. And when we started the exercise, there were times when you go to these registration centers, only 2 or 3 people will be registered in a day. And today we have an influx of people.
Will this large crowd get registered before the deadline? Only time will tell. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
In a related development, core members in Ogun State staged sensitization rally ahead of the July 31st deadline given by the Independent National Electoral Commission to suspend the exercise. The rally in Shagamu is to enlighten people on the need to register for a permanent voter card as a means to contribute to decision-making in the country by voting a candidate of their choice. The rally, organized by the Legal Aid Council of the Legal Aid Group of the core members in Shagamu local government, is part of their mandatory community development service. The PVC campaign rally, which commenced from NYSC Secretariat Makun, Shagamu, ended at the Shagamu Benin Express Junction, where the group lead, Michael Kanu, addressed people on the need to register. After weeks of speculations, former Senator representing Rivers Southeast, Magnus Ngei Abe, has finally confirmed that he has dumped the All Progressives Congress APC for the Social Democratic Party SDP. Abe made the confirmation when he was being decorated with the SDP regalia in Port Harcourt, Rivers State.
I am very, very happy to be here with people who are not just happy to have me, but very, very happy to have me. I'm very, very pleased that we have found a home where we're comfortable, where we can propagate our dreams, where we can dream big dreams together and achieve great things together. We want to call on all Rivers people to join in this movement, to build a state where the government will serve the people and the people will prosper and promote the government. I'm glad to say that in the SDP, we have found firm believers in the project SMA. And so it is also my own pleasure and privilege to decorate our mother, our friend, our sister, our leader. And you can see that I am not only welcome in the party, I am welcome in his house. I am welcome in his mother's house. I am welcome in his kitchen because he's my friend, he's my brother, and he's...
People of Kadaso village in Faskari local government area of Katsina State are fleeing to towns and villages presumed safer following a threat letter allegedly sent by a terrorist kingpin, Adamu Alero. The handwritten letter in Hausa language was sent to the people of Kadaso village and obtained by Trust Television News in Katsina. Abdullah Yamadi tells us more.
Kadisau is a farming community in Faskari local government which has been attacked repeatedly by terrorists in recent times. The worst among the series of attacks on Kadisau village is the one which claimed over 100 lives, including women and children. During that attack, over 500 animals were also rescued and properties worth millions of naira destroyed. Sometimes I begin to wonder if really there is leadership or government in Nigeria. People are being killed daily by terrorists. and they move freely as if they are paid to kill. In this letter sent to the villagers not certified by Trust Television News, Adamu Aleru claimed that Kadiso village was attacked because some innocent Fulani people were once gruesomely murdered in the village. From the time we received the alleged letter, almost 3 to 4 days ago, hundreds of people, mostly women and children, have fled this village. Please, what evil have we committed? Meaning that the attack was a retaliatory one. Besides that, Adamu Aleru claimed that Kadiso attack was not masterminded by him, as alleged by Governor Aminu Masari and police authorities in Katsina. In the letter alleged to be sent to the people of Kadiso, Adamu Aleru is asking why Katsina State Governor and police authorities in Katsina are saying he attacked Kadiso village. He also went further to ask whether he is the one who attacked Kuje Correctional Facility or the Kaduna passenger train. Far from that, the letter ignited fear and apprehension in Kadiso village, which resulted to many deserting their ancestral homes. The battle is getting tougher by the day. Is this insecurity or is it hunger and abject poverty? Which is which? I'm really confused. The villagers are, however, calling for the deployment of more security personnel and the immediate restoration of peace to all the insecurity-prone areas. Dozens have been killed, hundreds of animals wrestled, with unspecified number of people abducted in Faskari, Sabwa, Dandumi, Kankara, Safana, Batsari, Kurifi, Dusuma, and Jibia local governments since the turbaning of the terrorist kingpin Adamu Aleru. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
And closer to this place, a fresh attack has been recorded in Kwali Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, amid the rising insecurity in the nation's capital. According to a resident of Chida community, Dangana Musa, a driver alongside his conductor was abducted in the latest attack, which occurred on Thursday evening. He said the driver, identified as Atazamu Azeki, and his conductor, Ayuba John, went to load charcoal at a farm in the area when the bandits broke in. Musa added that the kidnappers, who wielded sophisticated weapons, whisked the duo away at gunpoint, but later released John, who was asked to go and inform the victims' family members about the abduction. Spokesperson of the FCT Police Command, Abe Josephine, is yet to officially confirm the kidnap incident. The Nigerian Army has redeployed senior officers in a major reshuffle that affects some principal staff officers of the Army headquarters, general officers commanding GOCs, corps commanders, commandants of training institutions, brigade commanders, and commanding officers, among others. This comes amid the renewed attack by terrorists and other armed non-state actors, as well as a day after the military authorities said they have adopted a new strategy to tackle the threats in the country. Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu, who is the Director of Army Public Relations, announced the redeployment of the officers in a statement on Friday. He said the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, has approved the posting of some senior officers of the Nigerian Army to command, instructional, and staff appointments across the service formations and units. Some soldiers were reportedly killed when Boko Haram terrorists raided a military checkpoint around Zuma Rock in Niger State Thursday night. The area close to Madala town is a few meters away from Zuba, along the Abuja-Kaduna highway. A source told Daily Trust that the attackers arrived at the spot some minutes after 7 p.m. and opened fire immediately. The attack comes amid heightened tension in the Federal Capital Territory over likely terrorist attacks. The Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, has reinvigorated the G7 security operations to secure the territory. The G7 security operations involve collaboration and partnership with states that are contiguous to the territory. A statement by Anthony Ogunleye, Chief Press Secretary to the FCT Minister, said the FCT Commissioner of Police, Sunday Babaji, made this known during the FCT Monthly Security Committee meeting. He explained that the operation would involve taking the fight to the bandits and terrorists in their camps, which are mostly located in states bordering the FCT. The police commissioner, however, called for the collaboration and cooperation of residents of the FCT to provide actionable and timely intelligence to security agencies. Security experts have described the cases of terrorist attacks and security breaches in the country in the year 2022 as the worst in the last decades. The experts said these were featuring on Trust TV's flagship program, Daily Politics, to give their perspectives on the state of Nigeria's security architecture. Segir Ibrahim completes the report.
Worry over the rising cases of terrorist attacks in 2022.
I think it is right to say that the security situation in Nigeria is unfortunately deteriorating by the day. And we could look at incidents like the Abuja or Kuje attack or the other attacks we saw recently in Abuja and attempted attacks. But even when you look at the broader trend and pattern, you would see that this year is already becoming the deadliest year in the past 10 years.
Bukati also gave a breakdown of the number of casualties affected by insecurity in the country, adding that a majority of them were from the northern region.
6,698 Nigerians have been killed in the first 6 months of this year alone. And this is something I know Daily Trust has also reported on. If you looked at 6,698 people, that is over 1,116 people every single month. That's over 37 people every day. 37 people is 2-seater buses. The amount of people 2-seater, 18-seater buses accommodate are killed every single day in Nigeria, and 82% of this is in the northern part of Nigeria.
Former spokesman for the Nigerian Army, Brigadier General Sani Kukasheka, condemned plans by the National Security Council to ban commercial motorcycle operations across the country.
But under the present circumstances, you are just holding, the means of livelihood of law-abiding Nigerians and encouraging the criminals, because this ban, to a large extent, will not even affect them. I hope you understand. So basically, these are the issues. Maybe we need to have a rethink. Unless, of course, the modalities are made known to us. The period of time and what will be what will they be doing? Desperate situation require desperate measures, and part of the desperate measures, but I think it is not the best. There are other alternatives that we can think of.
He tasked the Nigerian government to instead go after those benefiting from Nigeria's insecurity situation.
A lot of people are benefiting from this unfortunate security situation we found ourselves. But it is the duty of those that are responsible to know who are those people that are benefiting. Whenever you have this issue, you have chain of people that benefit from that.
They, however, called on Nigerians to take responsibility for their well-being by actively participating in the electoral process to vote for credible leaders.
So I think the beginning point is to admit that as a people, we have not taken responsibility for our well-being and for our livelihood.
As a people, you mean the citizens or the leadership?
Yes, and I'll explain what I mean.
That's right.
It's okay for me to lament and point a finger at my president or my governor or my chairman, as the case may be. But how did that person come to power? What role did we participate? Are we not in a pre-election year? What role are we playing at the moment?
Sagir Ibrahim reporting for Trust TV.
The Joint Military Task Force in the Northeast, tagged Operation Hadinkai, says operatives have rescued 3 more Chibok girls kidnapped from the government girls' secondary school, Chibok of Borno State, by the Boko Haram terrorists. The theater commander of the operation Hadinkai, Major General Christopher Musa, said this on Friday during a press briefing at its headquarters at the Memeleri Barracks in Maiduguri. The commander explained that on 27 June, one of the Chibok girls named Ruth Beatrice escaped from Ukuba camp in Sambisa and was intercepted by troops at Bama on July 25. Troops of the operation Hadinkai rescued two Chibok girls named Karuna Luka with a child and Hanatu Musa with two children at Olari General Area. The commander said the girls are numbers 41, 38, and 7 on the list of the abducted Chibok girls. You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, why EFCC raids Bureau de Change market. Stay with us.
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve the sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news, or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
If you're just joining us, this is News Hour on Trust TV, a recap of our top stories. Crack in PDP as Governor Wike accuses presidential candidate of the party of lying against him. And last-minute rush for voter registration as exercise closes on Sunday. Now moving on. A heavy-duty truck involved in a lone accident has blocked a major road in Lagos. Authorities of the agency managing emergencies in the state have said. The permanent secretary of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, Olufemi Damilola Oke Osanyintolu, disclosed this in a statement on Friday, narrating how the crash took place. Oke Osanyintolu, who did not state the time of the incident, said it occurred on the inward section of the Palm Grove Obanikoro end along the popular Ikorodu Road. The truck was reported to have lost control and rammed into a culvert along the road as a result of a brake failure. Although no death was recorded, the Lasema boss said the truck blocked an entire lane, including the dedicated section of the Bros Rapid Transit BRT. Residents of Ungwandala in Gusau Metropolis, Zamfara State, are not happy with the state government's decision relocating mechanics, paint sellers, and dealers of second-hand iron materials to their area. The secretary of the area, Bashiru Mohammed, who led a protest, told journalists that bringing those categories of businessmen to Ungwandala is capable of increasing crime rates in the area. The report.
Residents of the area are protesting against the relocation of mechanics, paint sellers and dealers of second-hand iron materials who have been operating opposite the state government house. According to the protesters, the portion of the land in question was designated for the construction of Gusau Local Government Secretariat during the administration of former Governor Mahmouda Shinkafi. The protesters said they observed that Angwen Del Atu, Angwen Yarima to Barakallahu do not have both primary and secondary schools, therefore requested the state government to build schools for their children in the said portion of the land. We requested the government to build either primary or secondary school, but did not succeed. We started requesting right from the previous administration. We begged government and got tired of requesting government to provide school for our children in that location. Later, we met the senator representing our zone, who is now the deputy governor of Zamfara State, to help us and ask us to put it in writing, which we have done and submitted to the State Universal Basic Education Board. We were waiting. Then we saw staff of the State Urban and Regional Planning Board to come to give the portion of the land to mechanics and paint sellers, dealers in second iron materials. This is why we are calling on the government of Zamfara State to help us and bring these people, it's like confiscated the houses from them.
Our complaint is that we want government to build primary school because we have that problem. We heard that government wants to bring mechanics, paint sellers and dealers in second-hand iron materials to do their businesses. Building primary or secondary school for us will bring progress and development, but bringing these people will increase crime rates, which we have been suffering from. It will affect the upbringing of our children and make life difficult for them. If there is anything the government plan to do, there should be common understanding between the followers and the leaders. In that way, there would be no conflict.
Reacting to the development, Zamfara State Urban Regional Planning Board said the relocation is temporary, pending when the state government will give them permanent land. The special advisor to the state governor on urban and regional planning, Anas Abdullahi, appealed to residents of the area to remain calm and law-abiding, as the state government will provide school for their children in that location. Anas Abdullahi allayed fear that Zamfara state government will ensure those allocating the land temporarily do not harbor suspected hoodlum that may constitute nuisance to them.
Menstrual hygiene as an integral part of a woman's well-being can be challenging where clean water, toilet facilities, and sanitary products are inadequate. Trust TV spoke with one of the freed female victims of the Kaduna-Abuja train attack in Kaduna, and she shares how women hostages handle menstrual hygiene while in captivity.
Beyond the trauma of isolation and fear of being killed, female victims of the Abuja-Kaduna train attack have to grapple with the extra trauma of menstrual hygiene. One of the freed victims could not stop being emotional, pausing at intervals to compose herself while recounting her experience in the forest with her abductors.
Honestly speaking, I'm not sure if I even want to talk about that, because that's one of the terrible
and traumatic side of it all. I'm not sure if I'm really want to talk about it, but then like it wasn't hygienic. It was dangerous, knowing that you have to share a rag. Actually, someone from the men gave us his clothes, like his agbada, and we had to cut it into pieces. And we shared it, like we cut it into pieces, knowing that, okay, when Mr. A starts menstruating, uses it, finish, before Mr. B starts, wash it, dry it, Mr. B uses the same rag, like...
She is optimistic that remaining abducted passengers will be freed in the not too distant future.
I want to remain optimistic about their release and be hopeful, like keeping my hope high and hoping that whatsoever the case is, I just pray that God just intervene, because He is the author of it all. Like, that's the only person I can depend on right now.
Among those she hopes will be freed one day is her sister that was kidnapped along with her. She urges the federal government to meet the demands of the abductors.
Because even the government, like... But I hope, I'm very sure that, well, I don't know when, I don't know how long it's going to take, but then I know that no matter what time, at God's time, they are definitely going to come back in one piece.
While the relatives of the train attack victims are praying to reunite with their loved ones, many believe that stronger synergy between security agencies and communities will make a huge difference in defeating banditry and terrorism in the country. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Bauchi health workers have appealed to residents to cooperate with them while discharging their duty, especially when patients with critical condition are referred to the Intensive Care Unit, ICU. They made the appeal after the inauguration of Bauchi State Medical Oxygen Committee to address shortage of oxygen in secondary health facilities in the state. Adamu Imam completes the report.
The Oxygen Committee is set up to provide technical assistance to assess needs and identify optimal oxygen delivery system at facility level. Chairman of the 20-man committee, Dr. Robinson Yusuf, says the effort came through Clinton Health Access Initiative in collaboration with UNICEF, which donated oxygen equipment. They realized the need to address the gap by establishing oxygen plant to cater for the state-owned health facilities.
On the part of the public, even though we will still target community mobilization and sensitization, we know that our people, sometimes there is this feeling that when a child is ill or somebody is ill and his care requires the use of oxygen, people tend to lose hope. They feel like, we believe that we'll be able to work to engage community to make them realize the importance so they can cooperate with health workers at every level.
During the handing over of the equipment, which comprises of 51 cylinders and 1,274 nasal prongs cannula, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, says they will utilize the item efficiently.
The care of oxygen is in a critical condition. Actually, it is a life-saving equipment that they are giving. So they are giving this actually to save the lives of the people of Bauchi State, and we are very appreciative of their effort.
Earlier, the representative of the Clinton Health Access Initiative says they learned of the huge gap in supply of oxygen and therefore decided to help the people in secondary health facilities in the state.
Our health facilities were exposed due to the lack of oxygen equipment or oxygen support system. So this bring the attention of the Health Access Initiative to see how they will come in to help the Nigerian government in establishing some of the oxygen equipment, to see how they will establish a system that will sustain the oxygen programming and oxygen planning across some Nigerian states.
According to them, 2 oxygen plants will be established in the state-owned specialist hospital and Alikwara General Hospital in Bauchi and Azare local government areas. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
As all IDP camps in Maiduguri close officially, some displaced persons are worried about where they will live as they return to liberated communities. This comes as the state government began the settlement of over 60,000 IDPs to their local government. Trust TV spoke to some displaced persons on the relocation exercise. The report.
At the beginning of the IDP camp closure in Maiduguri, 6 camps were shut down last year with thousands resettled back to their communities. The final phase of the exercise on Thursday witnessed additional 4 camps which include Dalori 1 and 2, Gubio and Muna Garage camps. Ali Bukar is among over 11,000 displaced persons living for Konduga local government area. He says where to live with his family when he reaches his hometown is his problem. He plans to engage in farming but seeks for support.
Kana jin dadin komawa?
Alhamdulillah muna jin dadin komawa. Amma ba mu da wajen zama. Ba mu da daki komai.
I'm happy going back to my village, but we have nowhere to stay and we need food too. If the government can provide these things, it will really help. Yes, I'm willing to go back home. I'm not afraid because the place is safe now. The only thing is that there is no place to live there, no food, no access to water, and our husbands don't have any handwork to do. The state government said it's implementing the world standard rules which gives the free will for displaced persons to choose where to live.
We have identified many of them who are willing to go back to their ancestral homes. There are few of them who decided to stay here in Maiduguri. But I think those who decided to go homes are much more higher than those who decided to stay.
What is the level of readiness of those communities that they are going to?
Well, before we start even embarking on the return process, we make sure that we provided what is called the shelter, that is the housing for them to go and stay, and then there's also what we call checklist, which involve all the facilities needed for us to complete this process of resettlement. Water facilities, health care facilities, educational facilities, all what is needed is already on ground for them to go and start their phases of life.
Despite the expected challenges to pick up life, Ali Bukar and other displaced persons are hopeful that the return of peace in their once destroyed communities will be buried with the new life to fulfill for the future.
The Apapa Customs Command has arrested 81 cartons of 250 milligrams and 69 cartons of 250 milligrams tramadol, carefully concealed in cartons of towels in a container. Speaking at the handing over of the illicit drugs in Apapa, Lagos, the Customs Area Controller of the Command, Controller Malanta Yusuf, said the war against illicit drugs abuse and trafficking requires the support of everyone. The report.
An important milestone in the fight against illicit drugs in Nigeria was in 1984 when Decree Number 20, which prescribed the death penalty for all those involved in drug trafficking, was promulgated. The Nigerian Customs Service Apapa Area Command hands over a container loaded with 81 cartons and 69 cartons of 225 milligrams of tramadol, totaling 150 of tramadol tablets to NDLEA. While handling over the drugs, the Apapa Area Controller Malanta Yusuf said the fight against illicit drug trafficking and abuse is everyone's business.
On the authority of the Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service, Colonel Hamid Ibrahim Ali retired, I, Controller M.I. Yusuf, Custom Area Controller Apapa Area Command, do hereby hand over 1/20 container number PCIU 0183241, laden with 81 cartons of 250 and 69 cartons of 225 mg of tramadol tablets.
Ibrahim Malanta also said that his men arrested a suspect linked to the drugs imported under false declaration, adding that the command will continue to synergize with other security agencies within the port to tackle drug trafficking.
This is to further strengthen existing relationship between the Nigerian Customs Service, the NDLE, and other relevant government agencies operating in the port. The fight against illicit drugs abuse and trafficking is everyone's business, and the Nigerian Customs Service is always out to support the Nigerian NDLE, Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency, in combating this ugly menace decisively.
Also, the commander of Narcotics Papa Special Area Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Ame Inalegu, said the seizures meant a lot to Nigerian society, adding that the war against illicit drug trafficking is part of collaborative approach by law enforcement agencies.
2 containers were handed over to us. This is their Papa spirit, and my chairman is very appreciative and is ready to project and commend any officer of the security agencies that we partner as Nigerian NDLEA.
The street value of the handed illicit drugs is estimated to be above 6 billion naira. The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, has said that 14.4% of Nigerians are presently engaged in drug abuse, and 27.7% of the percentage are youths. Research has shown that a huge majority of violent crimes, such as murder, rape, and robbery, take place under the influence of these controlled substances.
Newshour will be right back. Welcome back. The federal government says it will start implementing a 5% inclusive excise duty on telecommunication services in Nigeria. The development is coming months after President Muhammadu Buhari approved excise duty on telephone recharge cards and vouchers. Zainab Ahmed, Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, disclosed this on Thursday at a stakeholders forum in Abuja, organized by the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. Umar Dambata, Executive Vice Chairman, NCC, said the excise duty was part of the 2022 fiscal policy measures, adding that the excise duty covered both prepaid and postpaid telecommunications services. Operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, on Friday raided Wuse Zone 4 in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, the base of many bureau de change operators. The anti-graft agency officials said the commission is working on intelligence that some forces with massive naira inflow have mobilized resources and are busy buying up available foreign currency, especially the United States dollar, to either hoard or smuggle same out of the country. Reports have it that some operatives of the commission have been deployed to major airports in the country with a view to arresting those sabotaging the economy of the country. One of the basic rights of every Nigerian citizen is a right to housing. However, with certain challenges facing the real estate sector, it has affected the affordability and availability of durable homes, leaving many either out in the cold or living in dangerously substandard homes. Chairman Dabeng reports.
Nigeria's housing deficit continues to be a major issue as the country currently has a housing deficit of 28 million housing units. It is a challenge that needs to be solved quickly to meet up with the demands of Nigeria's population of over 200 million.
The Nigerian housing structure is in the limbo, I can say, at the moment, because in Nigeria we have huge housing deficits. In fact, CBN statistics represents that as at 1999 we have about 20 million housing deficit in Nigeria. And for us to bridge that gap, we need to produce about 750,000 houses every year for 17 years.
I would say economy is another thing that is making us experience housing deficit, both by developers and also those that are buying into the estate. For developers, the cost of materials in the market is discouraging. Only heavyweights that know their way are able to do this thing these days. And only heavyweights also that know their way are able to buy. So the economy is also a strong factor to housing deficit in Nigeria.
Vice President of Nigeria, Yemi Osinbajo, has indicated that 75% of the houses in Nigeria are substandard.
Yes, that statement is actually true because the cost of production in Nigeria is very high, and you find out that people that produce housing solutions are finding different ways to cut corners so that they will also make high profits. Even the Federal Capital Development Authority always deploy their engineers to go and inspect houses to make sure that there is no collapse in the future. So Nigerians should also actually come up to that speed to produce houses that are of quality, houses that are durable, that will stay hundreds of years.
But not all persons agree with him.
I don't agree with that statement because before you can even go into estate development, there are institutions that verify your authentication, and also you have to qualify your engineers, you understand, and construction workers. They have a particular certificate to tender. If we are verifying the materials are okay for the building, how then will the Vice President now say the houses are below standard?
Looking beyond the standards, how available are houses to the ordinary Nigerian? In urban centers, the question may not be about a shortfall in houses. Nigeria has a number of empty houses all over the major urban centers, including the Federal Capital Territory, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Onitsha, and Asaba. Why is the cost of housing so high that it discourages people from taking residence in them?
Houses are very expensive in Nigeria, especially in Abuja. And it also goes back to what I said before, the cost of production. Housing materials are very expensive. A lot of them are imported. Even to the lists of the material block. If they give you the price of block today, by next week, another price has changed.
Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
To the foreign scene now, New York and San Francisco have issued monkeypox alert as cases continue to rise, with the United States facing a shortage of vaccines. Authorities in New York said on Thursday that the virus represented an imminent threat to public health across the state. Health Commissioner Mary Bassett said the declaration would help health departments engage in response and prevention activities to access additional state reimbursement. Meanwhile, in San Francisco, California, authorities declared monkeypox a local public health emergency. Mayor London Breed said the risk of disease remained low, but the declaration going into effect on August 1 would help in the mobilization of resources. And on sports, the Nigeria Football Federation has recognized Chikelue Iloyosi, a former international footballer, as the chairman of the Anambra State Football Association. The recognition comes almost 2 years after the election, which was held in October 30, 2020. The election was conducted between Iloyosi and Emeka Okeke, former caretaker committee chairman of the association, who was declared winner by Father Obinna Dike-led electoral committee. Although the election was declared inconclusive by the NFF at the time, a letter signed by Joshua Onoja, Secretary, NFF Electoral Committee, on July 28, however, said Iluanyosi was the only candidate qualified for the election based on the findings of the appeals committee. According to the NFF, if a new election is held, the petitioner will still stand as the sole candidate. Let's now join Adeniyi Ajisafe for more sports.
The National Under-12 and Under-15 Handball Championship is set to hold in Sokoto State from 26 August to September 4, 2022. Secretary General Handball Federation of Nigeria, HFN, Umar Lambu says the developmental championship organized to discover future handball stars nationally while urging participating teams to commence registration earlier enough in preparation for the championship. Winners of the National Under-12, Under-15 Handball Championship in the male and female categories of the age groups will have the opportunity to represent Nigeria in underage international championships. The National Under-12 and Under-15 Handball Championship is a grassroots developmental event organized by the HFN and sponsored by the Sokoto State government, which is in third straight installment since the sponsorship began. The adventure of Team Nigeria at the 2022 Commonwealth Games started on a good note in table tennis. In women's singles, Esther Oribamshe defeated Del Peche of St. Vincent and the Grenadines 11-2, 11-3, 11-2 to win her first game to open floors of wins for Nigeria. In women's double, Nigeria Bello Fatima and Effiong Edem defeated Velos and Kumbabach from St. Vincent and the Grenadines 11-6, 11-2, 11-5. While in men's double, the duo of Ome Amobi and Omotayo Olagide won their first group game against South Africans Kogil Tio and Nato CO in 3 sets, 11-5, 11-5, 11-5. While world number 12, Aona Quadri, had an easy one against Joan Sean of South Africa, winning 11-6, 11-3, 12-10. That's sport news. I am Adeniyi Ajisafe.
And with that, we've come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV for tonight. For more news, connect with us across all our social media platforms. I am Diron Onifade. Have a nice weekend.